In this lesson, we're going to be discussing text frame options. If you'd like to follow along, go under your File menu to Open, and in the Working Files folder, go into Chapter number 7 and select Text Frame Options, and just click Open. Let me get my Pages panel out of the way and just scroll over just a bit. And I'm going to select my text frame on this page with my selection tool. And then I'm going to go under the Object menu to Text Frame Options, or hit Command B on a Mac, Control B on a PC. Why is Text Frame Options under the Object menu? Well, it's a text frame, and text frames are objects. So their options would be under the Object menu. So let me select that, and we're going to go through the dialog window. The first thing is columns, and I'm going to leave it at fixed number. So if I increase that number, I'm going to have more and more columns with each click. So now I have 4 columns. But what if I change the width? Right now, the width of each column is 2.375. Because the number is fixed, if I click my up arrow next to width, the whole frame has to get wider to accommodate 4 columns with a width of 2.4375 inches. I'm going to click the down arrow next to width, and you can see that the whole frame gets narrower. The next field is called gutter. That's the space between the columns. Let me increase that a little bit. I'm going to click my up arrow, and it's going to go to the next available 1/16 of an inch. The next thing is called balance columns. What is that about? Well, if I check that, you're going to see as close as possible, it will make all of the columns come to the same depth. In this particular example, the last column falls short by just 1 line. So it is doing its best to make all the columns the same depth. Let me uncheck balance columns. And for number, I'm going to go back down to 1. The next section is called inset spacing. By default, all 4 fields, top, bottom, left, and right, are linked together. That means if I change any of them, they will all change to the same inset. Let me click my up arrow next to top, and you can see that it's insetting the text 0.125 inches, 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. Now, if I wanted the bottom to be slightly more, I could always deselect the link and increase the bottom. But I am going to leave them all the same and reselect the link to keep them all equal. Now, the next section is vertical justification. That's the way the text aligns to the frame in the height. By default, the text is aligned to the top. In this case, because there's an inset, it aligns to the top inset. But watch what happens if I choose center. It is actually centering the top and the bottom of the text between the top and bottom inset. If I go to bottom for a line, it is aligning the baseline of the last line of text in the frame to the bottom inset. The next choice is justify. That's going to put an equal amount of space between the lines. It actually ignores my leading so that the top of the text is at the top inset and the baseline of the bottom line of text aligns to the bottom inset. Let me go back to top. One last thing. There's a checkbox that says ignore text wrap. And we're going to be talking about this in an upcoming lesson when we talk about text wraps. Now, I'm just going to click OK. And I wanted to talk about one more thing that has to do with text frames. In a previous lesson, I mentioned something called primary text frames. And we set up a document that in the new document options window, we checked primary text frame. This gave us a text frame on a master page that would allow text on our regular pages in our document to flow from page to page to page. But what if I set up a B master and I wanted the text to flow from page to page to page, whether there was an A master assigned or a B master? Well, let me go to my Pages panel. And at the top of the panel, you can see I set up a new B master. I'm going to double click on it, and there is a text frame there. So to make that into a primary text frame, I have to click on this little icon towards the upper left. And you can see it says, click to make this story the master's primary text flow. So if there's other text frames on that master page, they will not have anything to do with the flow of text from page to page to page. So it's allowing you to pick which frame on your master will allow the flow of text in the document. In the next lesson, we're going to start to discuss working with styles.